I'm pleased to welcome two special guests, and first to share words of greeting tonight, our Member of Provincial Parliament, Robin Martin, is here with us tonight. We're pleased to welcome you and ask you to come forward and share a few words, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi Dolgan, and Rabbi Shaner, I know is here as well. I'm honored to have been invited to join you today, and I've brought some Purim greetings with me for the temple from Premier Ford, which I'm going to give to Rabbi Dolgan later. But I also want to just share a few words with you. It's been a very difficult time, and today, as we said earlier, we're gathered on the sacred occasion of Purim, which is usually a very joyous time. Some people have their costumes on, ready to celebrate, but our hearts are still quite heavy with sorrow and uncertainty about what's happening. In Israel and across the globe, Jewish communities are grappling with the rise of anti-Semitism and the loss of friends and loved ones who were taken away during the terrorist attack on October 7th. And we heard from one of these victims this evening, Judy, a member of this very congregation, and her family is with us tonight. And although I never had the opportunity to meet her, I think we all heard her words, very touching, what she offered, and she had a lot to offer, obviously. And we know, I think, that we've lost something great in losing Judy and the others as well. But I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Judy at this time, and may her memory be a blessing. Judy, like many other innocents, was taken away from her loved ones and her community by terrorists. And we must never forget what happened on October 7th. And we will not rest until all of those who are held by Hamas are returned. In the wake of October 7th, I want to reaffirm the provincial government's staunch support for Israel. And I also want to reaffirm that our government will always stand with the Jewish community against anti-Semitism, which unfortunately and somewhat astoundingly has actually increased in the aftermath of an attack on Israel. The Premier and I and other members of our government have met with Israel's Consul General Edith Shamir and families of some of the hostages on a few occasions. We've all been shaken to the core by what happened in Israel on October 7th and the ongoing trauma that continues with the prosecution of the war, and especially with the uncertainty surrounding hostages and all those who were taken on October 7th. And some of that uncertainty has also come into our own community and is very upsetting for everybody. Today, as we come together to celebrate Purim, this holiday can offer us maybe a beacon of hope even in these dark times. As we reflect on the Purim story, we're reminded of the trials faced by Jewish people throughout history and the triumph of good over evil. The spirit of perseverance and hope has sustained the Jewish people through millennia, and I think will continue to do so. I read an article recently by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, which was called "How the Jews Invented Hope," and I found it quite persuasive. So despite having endured a lot of horrors, many members of this community have had very successful lives and rebuilt communities and institutions. And their examples or their stories really serve as a reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the strength of members of this very community and the enduring power of hope, a message, I think, which is just as important today as ever. Just as Esther and Mordecai rallied the Jewish people against tyranny, so too must we come together in the spirit of Purim to support one another against another attempt to impose a cruel and hateful tyranny. Together, we have to continue to demand the return of all hostages and the remains of those who were taken. But we must also redouble our efforts to fight hate wherever it rears its ugly head. As Rabbi Dolgan recently said in an article, we must all stand up to hate, for when one hate rises, all forms of hate will follow suit. We must ensure that all people really grasp the evil that is wrought by those who dehumanize other human beings through racism or anti-Semitism or the evils of terrorism. We must all stand together against hate, or we risk losing everything that we have worked so hard to build. So as the Jewish people around the world celebrate Purim today, amidst sorrow, there is also hope. Hope for the return of hostages, hope for a world where the lessons of the past actually guide us toward a brighter future, and hope for a future where persecution and hatred are distant memories, and where we can all feel safe in the loving embrace of our families and our community. As Judy wrote, and as we heard her say tonight, now more than ever, kindness and tolerance with an open heart. Thank you.